1987, anyone could be someone. If you wanted it, you went for it. Mel and Kim Appleby were from London's East End. They'd grown...
These two girls, it was a fairy story. From Knicker Factory to #1. You know,
done some Playboy pictures in the past, before we were famous, and of course they press dug them out. And her attitude was just brilliant. She was just like, there's nothing I can do about it, but let's go and tell Pete.
Mel sat in front of the desk and said, look, I've got to confess to you, you know. I've got a set of pictures coming out in a magazine, you know. And I did these some time ago. So I sort of said, are they sort of arty pictures? And she went, yeah. And I went, are you completely naked? Yeah. Oh. All I want to know is, are you on your own? She went, yes. I said, oh, I don't care then.
You used to do a bit of modelling, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I've done it for about a year or so.
Bit of page 3.
Bit of page 3, yeah.
How does this
it's different. It's wild.
You keep your clothes on for this?
Yeah, that's it, yeah, that's the difference.
She was just laughing. She just said, it is what it is, Pete. And he just couldn't believe our attitude. East London girls. So, you know, it takes a lot to ruffle your feathers, really.
So gave Stock, Aitken and Waterman the chance to get creative.
We've got a new piece of equipment in the studio called a Publison, and Mike was playing with it. So you could play it on the keyboard. So before where you could just trigger the sample, like a kick drum or a snare drum, this you could play on the piano. So you could change the note. So you could go, hey, 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 hey.
The MD of the label we were signed to, he hated the tay-tay, 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 tay-tay. And Pete was going to put it back to just tay, so there wasn't going to be a run-up to the chorus.
The girls were in Holland doing a gig.
It was the first time we were performing Respectable, so we hadn't performed it here in England at that time. And we went...
Respectable rocketed to #1 and bounced Mel and Kim back to the Top of the Pops studio.
It was very nerve-wracking doing Top of the Pops, and I remember Mel and I hoping we weren't going to forget the dance routine. It is a big deal, really, because everyone wants that kind of #1, don't they? But we never thought that. We were just buzzing.
Their third single ostensibly summed up the good time mantra of '87 in fun, love and money, though what FLM actually stood for was a little more vernacular.
Fucking lovely, mate. Every 3 minutes, Mel would come up with fucking lovely, mate. How's this, Mel? Fucking lovely.
And we went to the studio one day, and up on the monitor was FLM, and we turned to Mike and we were like, FLM? What does that mean? And he said, friggin' lovely, mate. And we went, well, we can't sing that on Top of the Pops. But they were clever. They made it fun, love and money.
We were the Filofax generation at that point, so it was about credit cards, it was about mobile phones, it was on about the way money was changing things, the way that the whole of society was suddenly becoming very different. It was FLM, fun, love and money.
If you're in confusion, here's the solution.
Riding high on a hat-trick of hits, Mel and Kim's triumph seemed unstoppable.
We went to the Montreal Pop Festival and we'd done our performance, which went really, really well. But we all went out to dinner and Melanie got up to go to the ladies and fell. And it didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but she laughed and just shrugged it off. And it wasn't until we got to Japan that I then knew there was something seriously wrong. And then when we came back, she was diagnosed.
And it's one of them situations where it all turns in front of your eyes, you know. I mean, because your health is the most important thing.
We weren't melancholy about the whole thing. We were actually very positive. We've still got this energy. You know, this is a blip at the moment. What are we doing in the meantime? And we did. We wrote songs. And eventually you get to a point where, you know, we both knew. I think she knew, and maybe didn't say anything, but I certainly knew that she wasn't going to get better.
You look back and you think, one of the brightest spirits I ever met in my life. Bravest people. Without a question, she was brave.
For at least 15 years, I didn't want anything to do with Mel and Kim. But now I feel like I've made my peace. This happened and it was tragic, but look, this is what we did, and I'm here to fly the flag for Mel and myself.
I mean, if you go and thinking you're a star straight away, then that could really mess you up.
Yeah.
But we're very
Down to
cool.
earth.
I'm down to earth, you're cool.
They might not have had much cash in their pocket, but they had imagination.
So much creativity came out of politically a dismal period.
Arty types were doing the...
You had this great outlet with the clubs. You go clubbing, you dress up, yeah, and it was relatively cheap to get into a club then.
Probably have had nights out with everybody in the top 10.
It just felt great. You just forgot it all. Once you were in the clubs, you forgot what was happening on the outside world and you were in your own world.
You know, it's where people go and shop.
The Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit.
Comic Relief's festive offering was Mel and Kim. Not that Mel and Kim. Do you see what they did there?
Confused a lot of people.
So high.